So we finally have our hands on the Osteo Striga Exotic SMG, and boy oh boy, it is a unique weapon. I've put it through the rigors of the Crucible to see what it can and can't do, and I want to tell you guys as honestly as possible how broken or meh this weapon really is. So let's get into it. The Osteo Striga is a 600 RPM SMG that hits 25 to the head and 18 to the body. Usually, the TTK for a 600 RPM SMG is 0.8 seconds with 7 crits and 2 bodies, assuming a Guardian with 6 resilience. This thing, however, has a TTK of just 0.7 seconds with 7 crits and 1 body, and it's its own thing within the archetype. The main perk it has is called Screaming Swarm, whereby it fires a stream of sentient, toxic projectiles that track the targeted enemy. Its main exotic perk, Toxic Overload, lets you spread that poison to nearby targets on final blows or multiple precision hits. The thing about this gun is that it fires projectiles which take time to hit your enemy. It's not a hit scan weapon. Think something like the Vestian Dynasty from D1. So even though the theoretical TTK is 0.7 seconds, once you factor projectile travel time, it becomes something a little bit more. So the 0.7 TTK, which is very attractive, can be a little bit deceiving. In terms of its role, the first time you craft it, it comes with a starting roll of polygonal rifling, hand-laid stock, and steady rounds. It feels quite stable with all these 3 perks. Now, usually for an SMG, I would spec into range, and this gun can roll with something like camouflage rifling and accurized rounds, which will increase range, but it'll be interesting to see how increased range affects the behavior of these projectiles. Does it give the projectiles a little bit more tracking at the higher ranges? Does it give it a bit more aim assist to the gun in general? I don't know. And when I level up the frame a little bit more, I think I'll craft a higher range version of this gun to see whether it makes the gun feel a little bit better. The biggest pro for me is that when you do achieve the 0.7 TTK, it really feels like the gun shreds. The gun also handles nicely, it feels relatively snappy, and the sights, in my opinion, are pretty easy to use, unlike something like the Necrochasm back in D1, which I really did not like the sights of. The big issue is that the theoretical 0.7 TTK is quite inconsistent, and it's not really a reliable thing to use in the Crucible. The projectile tracking is inconsistent and depends heavily on enemy strafing. Does the tracking get impacted by invisibility? I don't know, but it did feel like they were missing a tad more when enemies went invisible, which is a whole lot with Void 3.0. If someone engages you within the millisecond that you engage them, because of the travel time of the projectiles, more often than not, you end up losing the duel. In these clips, I try and use invisibility to try and get some sort of, time advantage on my opponents, but even with my opponents not tracking me for like the first 0.2 seconds, 0.3 seconds of a duel, I still end up losing a lot of these gunfights. So overall, I don't think this particular gun is going to impact the Crucible meta too much. It feels nice, it's got a novel perk, but I think beyond that, I don't think it's going to be very competitive within the PvP arena. My friends have been trying this gun out in PvE, and they tell me it's a completely different story for ads. So what I've said here, please do not translate that across to PvE. So guys, those were my first impressions for the Osteo Striga. If you liked what you saw today, please make sure to comment, and please make sure to subscribe to the channel for more content with Witch Queen. Peace out, guys.